What is up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Franca and I'm glad you're here. Today we're finishing off the lawsuit. Jen to Justin, but nothing we can't get through together. This film will be successful. She's already promoted heavily, so if she backs away now, it looks worse on her. And if you just focus on the bigger picture of how this film was going to change the game for you and the studio, just find ways to keep me busy when she gets everyone together. Obviously, if the whole cast is making content together, that's her trying to clue people onto there being a bigger issue. Everything she does is calculated, yet also manic. Jen says, I hear you, and we are already ahead of this with Sony, who has our backs here. I feel good about that, and they understand the larger issue if fans start poking holes. That doesn't benefit Sony either. Justin says she doesn't want to be a bad guy, so she'll find a way to blank say it without saying it. Jen says, and that's why we just stay ahead of it. Justin said, attempting to rewrite history, and I'm not the one who developed this and spent 5 years trying to make it. And there's an issue with me. It's just mean and hurtful, and she knows exactly what she's doing. Infection in my spine, pretty serious. Great doctors caught it early. Blank had a feeling. My body is done. Too much stress. We'll be in a hospital probably until Tuesday now. Then IV antibiotics via a PICC line for 6 weeks, which means can't travel. Editor 1 says, damn, then just take care of yourself. If Blake is so determined to handle the marketing on the movie, then just let her. Perfect time to look out for number 1. Justin said, if you think about it, we didn't even finish our director's cut because she intervened. So ideally at some point we can take a week and all just do it together for ourselves. But that opens up a can of worms, so we will need to let this play out for a while before we pull that card. And your door will be knocked on. The amount of women who feel seen and that it's reaching people all over the world, that men are remembering their own traumas and having conversations with their partners. That's why we did this, and it worked. Still the dream team. Editor 2 said, incredible, that's the best news. Editor 1 said, exactly, the most important thing. Alright, more text from his editors. Editor 1 said, too late, and I talked earlier and agreed. We just couldn't be in the same room with Blake. The last day to get our tickets was August 2nd. Editor 2 said, We'll be loving all of the red carpet looks for me, Justin. Justin said, long story, but we won't be in the same room. I was asked to not even come to the premiere. I can figure it out. Editor 2 said, I'm glad you're going. You did all the work. Editor 1 said, that was the main reason we didn't go, because we were under the impression you wouldn't be there. Justin said, well, if you decide to change your mind last minute, let me know and let's figure it out together. I'm going to be there. That's just different timing and holding areas and theaters and all the things you can imagine. It's still our film. Editor 2 said it would be very hard for me to sit and watch the final film for the first time at premiere. Just cheer for us when our names come up. Sending all love. Justin's, okay, yeah, I haven't seen it either. Editor 2 said, crazy times. That is crazy that the editors of the film haven't even seen the final cut of the movie before it goes out. And I feel bad for these editors because they seem like such sweet people. And they are being dragged into this, and they weren't even allowed. They didn't even feel like they wanted to go to the premiere because this movie was robbed from them. That's crazy. There's some Instagram messages and a TikTok video. When Wayfair and Baldoni hired Lively to appear in this film, they did not anticipate that she would execute a hostile takeover of the entire project. Lively's cynical abuse of SEX harassment allegations to assert unilateral control over every aspect of the production was both strategic and manipulative. Simultaneously, her public image suffered as a result of a series of high-profile blunders, which she tried to deflect by blaming plaintiffs for the public's prying interest into the foibles of the A-list celebrity. This is nothing but an excuse. Fame is a double-edged sword, but Lively's tactics here are unconscionable. Alongside the Times, she orchestrated a malicious attack on the reputation, careers, and personal lives of plaintiffs, subjecting them to public humiliation, threats, and vitriol. This lawsuit seeks to hold the Times accountable for its role in this defamation campaign, but plaintiffs are not done. There are other bad actors involved, and make no mistake, this will not be the last lawsuit. That's so funny that the lawyer put this in the lawsuit. He's like, yeah, there's gonna be more. I'm gonna give you all the tea. Okay, so then we have some death threats, which is crazy to me that people on the internet have no shame. Because I'm 100% certain sending someone a death threat or making a death threat to someone is illegal. So why do people on the internet have, like, no shame in doing it? They, like, do it with their full chest. And, like, that's crazy. I'm, like, 99% sure threatening someone is legal, like, with a death threat. Like, that's crazy. But people do it all the time on the internet, and it's crazy. But they have some images of death threats. I don't really know what these are saying because the print is really tiny. But I see again someone saying, "You are all Zionists." So I don't know. I wonder if something came out about Justin about him being a Zionist, because that's two people that have said him or his team was a Zionist. So I wonder if something came out about that. Yeah, and this one, I don't know. And this person is saying, "Because I am clothed in black, some of the directors may know what that means." What the heck? That's crazy. And I don't know what else they're saying, and I don't really care, to be honest, to read the whole death threat. Oh, and then this just says a bunch of things about the plaintiffs. Okay, I think these are the causes of action. In or about early 2019, Baldoni, through his literary agent, contacted the author of the book on which the film is based. He expressed a deep interest in adapting the book into a feature-length motion picture that aligned with his history of impactful storytelling. Baldoni envisioned a film that would shed light on the struggles of DV survivors, amplifying their voices and inspiring societal change. Driven by his unwavering commitment, often as a significant personal sacrifice, Baldoni ensured the film stayed true to his vision, ultimately achieving its purpose. On or about May 8, 2019, Wayfair secured an option for the book's rights with the intent of creating a film that would bring critical attention to the widespread issue of intimate partner violence. Over the next 5 years of development, Justin, Baldoni, and Wayfair maintained a strong and collaborative relationship with the book's author. With the rights to the book secured and a plan to finance the project, Wayfair committed to producing the film. Baldoni, whose passion and creative vision were central to the project, would direct and star in it. Wayfair partnered with Sony to co-finance and distribute the film. That agreement included, at Wayfair's and Baldoni's assistance, a requirement that 1% of the film's proceeds be donated to survivors of domestic violence. That 1% was ultimately earmarked for the organization No More, with which Justin Baldoni had wanted to partner as early as September 2022. On or about December 31st, 2022, Lively agreed to take on the leading role of Lily Bloom. As part of the subsequent negotiations, Lively was granted an executive producer credit, a title often associated with talent of her stature. Wayfair did not request that Lively contribute to the film in any capacity beyond her performance and this credit. On or about May 15, 2023, principal photography of the film commenced in New Jersey. During pre-production, Lively began to assert control over aspects of the film beyond her role as an actor and outside the scope of her contractual entitlements. While lead actors were sometimes granted approval over the general look of their on-screen character, this authority typically does not include full control over wardrobe decisions, without input from the other directors and producers. Nevertheless, Lively overstepped these boundaries, sidelining the producer's costume designer, a seasoned professional with a long-standing working relationship with Lively. Ignoring the director's vision for her character and disregarding the weeks spent by the entire team shopping and thoughtfully crafting her wardrobe in preparation for filming, Lively would send hundreds of images to film's costume designer during all hours of the evening, pointing them in the direction of the appearance she wanted for her character. The costume designer had to reshop her wardrobe, far exceeding the allocated budget and diverting time and resources. At one point, Lively insisted that her character had money and could afford $5,000 shoes, which had Baldoni rethinking the entire script that had been being worked on for well over a year and had been approved by both studios. That's crazy to me, because she said, like, I've heard that she's like, yeah, like, these are my shoes, like, I brought them to the movie. When her character in the book is supposed to be someone who quit their big girl job, quit their big girl job and decided she was going to start a small business herself. Where are you getting $5,000 to spare on luxury shoes? That's crazy to me. Lively also several times refused to participate in wardrobe fittings at the production office, a mere 15 minutes away from Lively's Tribeca residence. Instead, she insisted the costume department pack up the wardrobe department, deliver all her wardrobe items to her, loading the wardrobe apartment on trucks and delivering them to Lively's residence for fittings, added both time to the production schedule and expenses to the film. Two things productions worked hard to avoid with careful planning. These demands were never mentioned at the contractual negotiation phase, and therefore were not included in the budget. Lively herself, having a further obligation to the studios as an executive producer, paid no mind to the budget and the months of planning that had already occurred, which is crazy because that means she was costing them so much money to make this film just because she wanted to do it her way. And to have all these poor people pack up all this stuff, drive to her house, unpack all the stuff for her, pack it back up, and then drive back all the way back to the studio. Crazy to me. I would absolutely not be doing that for her. Even if Lively had the contractual authority to approve her character's wardrobe, which she did not, a grant of such authority would not and could not imply the right to blow up the film's budget with additional unanticipated costs. In an effort to maintain harmony at the start of their working relationships and to avoid further delays caused by wardrobe conflicts, Baldoni and the studio reluctantly allowed Lively full control over her wardrobe. This concession quickly proved forgettable. On the first day of principal photography, paparazzi captured and published photos of Lively in character wearing her self-selected wardrobe. These images were described as unflattering and sparked a backlash from the film's distributor, Sony. Justin received direct criticism from Sony, who voiced concerns about the impact of the photos on the film's public perception. Which is crazy because if Lively was in complete control of the wardrobe, I remember when those first photos dropped, everyone hated the wardrobe. Everyone was like, this is disgusting. Why is she wearing this? This is not what I expected. And to be honest, like Lively, if she was dressing herself, this girl thought if she kept layering things, the better the costume got. She had like 5 pairs of pants on in one scene, and like a jacket, a sweater, a scarf. Following these events, Baldoni approached Lively in her trailer to discuss necessary wardrobe adjustments. The conversation, while professional, took considerable time and was later grossly misinterpreted in Lively's CRD complaint, falsely characterizing the exchange as lengthy outbursts that delayed filming and caused the crew to wait for hours while Baldoni cried in Lively's dressing room. This account, later published by The Times, is false. Although Baldoni did briefly tear up during the conversation, it was in response to what he believed was a genuine compliment from Lively, praising his work as a director and actor. In hindsight, Baldoni recognized this as a manipulation tactic, likely intended to persuade him to continue allowing her unchecked control over wardrobe decisions. Lively later leveraged this conversation in support of her allegations of harassment, alleging that Baldoni made inappropriate comments on her appearance. In reality, Baldoni was relaying the distributor's concern and the widespread social media criticism regarding the wardrobe's failure to meet audience expectations, a sentiment Baldoni shared. This incident marked the beginning of a troubling pattern of manipulated behavior by Lively. During a red carpet interview at the New York City celebrity premiere of the film, Lively stated, "The iconic rooftop scene, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that but you now." This revelation came to a surprise to the film's credited screenwriter, who, when later interviewed, graciously responded, "So if I'm being told that Ryan wrote that, then great, how wonderful." The screenwriter further acknowledged, "There was a few little flourishes that I did not write, and if those flourishes came from Ryan, I think that's wonderful." This was also the first time plaintiffs learned that Reynolds, who had no formal role in the film's production, made unauthorized changes to the script in secret. Furthermore, Lively herself began altering the script daily. The frequency of Lively's revisions alarmed the producers, director, and studio, who anticipated that her interference would persist every day of the shoot and disrupt the production schedule. Each shooting day was already intricately planned, and her constant changes introduced significant stress on the production crew and financial strain. However, just weeks prior, Lively's husband Ryan Reynolds had aggressively berated Justin during a meeting in their penthouse in New York City, accusing him of fat-shaming Lively. Baldoni, in an effort to avoid further confrontation with Lively and Reynolds and rebuild rapport with his co-star, continued to bend to her will. Reynolds and Lively's inappropriate and humiliating berating of Baldoni, delivered perhaps intentionally as other celebrity friends were coming in and out of their penthouse, was prompted by Baldoni's reasonable inquiry into crucial information needed to ensure safety and avoid injury in a scene. Baldoni, while training for a physically demanding scene in which his character Ryle would lift Lily, asked his trainer, who was introduced to him by Lively and oversaw his training for the film, how much Lively weighed. Baldoni, who suffers from back issues and has multiple bulging discs, made the inquiry to ensure he could safely perform the lift without injury. Unfortunately, the trainer relayed this information to Lively, who then informed Reynolds. The confrontation that followed was so aggressive that Baldoni felt compelled to offer repeated apologies, despite his question being entirely reasonable and made in good faith. Following this incident, Lively refused to perform the lift scene, even though it had already been rehearsed with a stunt double. In fact, Lively threatened to quit the production altogether, despite her contractual obligations. Lively gave Baldoni an ultimatum, to either cast someone else or work with her in the way she works. It was her way or the highway. Recasting would be detrimental to production, sever Wayfair's relationship with Sony, and cost millions. To highlight the effects of the masterful gaslighting, Baldoni and Wayfair had also truly believed that in an effort to save herself from the backlash of being recast, Lively would leak that she felt fat-shamed by Baldoni, which he thought would ruin his career. Notably, it appears he was not wrong, and despite his efforts to do everything her way, she still tried, continues to try, and arguably did, with the help of the Times, ruin his career and reputation and well-being. Beyond the script revisions, Lively extended her influence over the film to other areas, frequently challenging decisions and asserting control. She not only rewrote her own dialogue, but also made unilateral changes to other characters' lines, effectively altering the script on a broad scale. This pattern of interference continued to disrupt the production's process, often causing stress, chaos, and delays. Over the months leading up to the film's release, Lively and her collaborators consistently scrutinized interactions with Baldoni and employed tactics that fall squarely within the definition of gaslighting. This behavior pressured Sony, Baldoni, and Wayfair into ceding control to Lively at every turn, resulting in her domination of nearly every aspect of the film's production. In Justin's defense, if I had a back issue, I would be asking the same question. If he outright said, like, how much do you weigh? Obviously, that sounds really bad. Why are you asking though? I feel like there's other ways he could have asked it. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like and comment down below. If you didn't, feel free to leave a hate comment. I'd love to hear your opinion, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.